Hello, audience. Welcome back. Well, thanks for commenting on the previous videos. Surprisingly, very intelligible comments, I must say. And that just gave me an idea to expand a little more on the subject of twin flame. And the next one I'll do on the holistic society because someone asked me what are the actual steps um, towards moving into this holistic society, because I was explaining that the current code of living, the code of being is you cannot fix it. It's corrupt to the bones. You got to start building a new one, almost like a breakaway society, which at first it's a breakaway and then little by little it will take over, because it's going to be so much better way of living. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to eliminate problems. Still have problems, but the approach of resolving these problems are going to be um, supported. You know, whereas right now, like for example, if you have kind of spiritual emotional issue, not who's gonna is it gonna give you pills and it just perpetuates the suffering, so it's everything's in the wrong direction anyway. I don't want to expand too much on this subject, but I'll make another video about holistic society. I'm going back now to the twin flames, and as I was talking in the previous video about the beliefs, and I just want to talk about twin flames as a belief system as well, and the paradox that a lot of people get into. Okay, first of all, um, what do we experience? What we observe, always look at what is happening inside of you, not what other people are saying, because when you have that discomfort and then you're going like, oh, I need to look for the solutions. Well, it's natural, it's not your fault that you do this, but it's just conditioning. And so we look at, okay, now experience what's happening to me. Okay, I experience strong connection with somebody. Okay, all right, and I'm getting triggered as fuck by that connection. Um, and it seems that I feel like a love connection, but the behavior is kind of opposite. It's almost like that person is doing things on purpose to trigger me, and you're like, what the fuck? I feel one thing, I feel one type of connection, but the behavior is the opposite. It's like, what the fuck is happening? So, you start looking for solutions, you start going searching. It's like, oh yeah, it's a twin flame, and somebody else is babbling about, yeah, it's twin flame, it's a twin flame journey, blah blah, and so you take everything as a true story, and so you create a belief. Okay, it's a twin flame, it's the one that I have to be with. Okay, what happens next? Now you have a belief that not only that you have that connection, that you feel one thing, and then you're experiencing the opposite thing to trigger and to hurt your empathetic connection. Now on top of it, you have a belief that like that's okay. That's okay because that's my person, that's the one. So it's okay if he just keeps on hurting me. Eventually he's gonna or she's gonna stop, and we're gonna be married happily ever after. Okay, and what happens then? 4-5 years go by, and some people say, I've been suffering for 4 or 8 years, but one day I hope that will change. They call it twin flame journey, right? So it's very important. So I'm laughing, but a lot of people are in deep suffering because of this. But when it's over, you can laugh about it. All right, so now we have what? We have the connection, we have being triggered, and at the same time, we have belief system that says, I'm meant to be with the person. Okay, so now that thing that says I'm meant to be with the person, this is my twin flame. That's what twin flame means, right? Or at least that's what the twin flame is being portrayed to me. Okay, so now I have an image. So this image doesn't really allow me to be free, because I must be connected. I must have that empathetic connection to that person, through which the hurt keeps coming. Keeps coming and coming and coming, and it's never ending. And so, what the fuck? At some point, you have to get out of this cycle. You got to start thinking for yourself. You cannot start reading that shit no more. You can't, start questioning everything from scratch. And so, what you may find is that okay, what if I just remove that belief that the person is mine and I must be with that person? What if we just remove that belief? Because look, the belief is not the truth, is not the knowing. None of the beliefs is the knowing. All the beliefs is a belief. Like, for example, you can create a belief about yourself, I don't know what we may be. I'm good looking, okay. Please, no. Okay. Let's say I'm good looking, okay? Not talking about myself. Even, okay, stop it. I should refrain myself from jokes. Okay. Let's say I imagine I'm good looking, and somebody comes along and says, you look like shit, and then you get hurt. The image that you have created, that belief that you have created, is getting hurt because somebody is now attacking the image. You're not the image. You see? And so you may not need to have that belief at all created to be who you already are. Meaning, it's like, okay, how can I tell this and this? Okay, I can tell this thing like I am good looking and try to convince myself that I'm looking. Or I could just feel who I am, which is this certain type of energy, and that feels fucking amazing. So when you feel so fucking amazing, if you do feel amazing, it doesn't matter what other people are saying about the image that doesn't even exist, because you're not there. You live in your heart where you feel good looking without creating an image. It's you know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's go back. But I just wanted to show you that the belief and the reality of it is not the same. There is a reality, but it's only when you take the belief out, then there's this reality. And I want to show you what happens with the twin flame thing. So now you have a belief of twin flame, right? And you try to, little by little, at first you may struggle and you say like, no, I feel it. And he's like, yeah, but you've been suffering for a couple of years now, like maybe that's, maybe that's not it. Maybe that's, because it's not changing. So anyway, so you start dismantling, okay, maybe that person isn't the one. And so maybe that openness that I have, that empathy that I have for that person, through which the hurt comes in, right? Maybe, what if I start having some self-respect, in the sense that I don't want to be empathetic to a person which feeds these painful emotions to me. And so that part of you that likes to please people is like, no, but that seems kind of cool. That's voice, what I'm saying? But that voice is also a belief system. That voice is also a demon. And then you say, well, let's try it. And the way you do it is you face that thing, that pain that is coming to you, and you face this, and all the way until you feel nothing but peace where it was. Basically, you transmute the empathy into the compassion. The empathy is something that is neutral. Empathy is a connection. It's neither good, neither bad. If you have an empathy for someone else, it just means that you feel their emotions or their intents, or you know, or you see what I'm saying. And if they don't care about you, and you have that desire for them to care about you, you get that negative emotion. You see what I'm saying? It's just feeds you negative emotions that is not even yours. So when you cut that cord, some people call it cut that cord, but it's not actually cord cutting. Like, you just need to feel that empathy that you have, and go into the compassion. But again, it's not something like, okay, now I'm going to compassion. No, you feel that energy that you normally feel as uncomfortable, pain, negative emotion, and you go in within and face it and face it and face it and face it, and eventually you get to the point where that trigger, that thing, doesn't do anything for you. You get to the point of peace, and then you may feel like compassion. You did not close yourself off, because if you try to close yourself off from that person that you have a connection with, you're going to just be in denial. Okay, you're just going to be in denial, and then eventually that you're not going to be hold that willpower that is necessary for you to hold on and deny those types of feelings, and just going to break loose, and all that shit's going to flood back in again. So what you do, you go the opposite. It's like, okay, my heart is open to this person, now I'm just going to open even more, where divine boundaries exist already. You don't have to worry about it like, oh, I want to close myself off. No. You go into the compassion, and the compassion itself is the boundary. And the compassion just basically is, you feel love for that person regardless of what the fuck they're doing. And so then the reason it's a boundary is because, like, you do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, but that emotion is not reaching me anymore. That negative emotion is not reaching me anymore. Because why? It's because I'm radiating compassion, and that is your, like, true real protection. You can call it the state of Holy Spirit. A true real protection is when there is no protection. It's dissolution of the thing that is hurtable. That's why sometimes I say, when you are not hurtable, you're lovable. So then you move into the state of the compassion. Whereas before was addiction and attachment, addiction, cord, whatever you want to call it. That's what it was. And that very addiction, the very compassion, you were calling it twin flame. So you see how the very belief in twin flame propagated that thing. If you would just never ever looked at that belief ever, and you just, I don't know what's going on, but like, look, this is what's happening, and then you just felt all these emotions, you realize, oh my god, I'm accessing new levels of compassion because of that person. And so now I have these new levels of compassion, and it's not hurting me anymore. I still have a connection with this person, but it doesn't hurt me anymore. And so you're free. And so you're free right now. There's no belief no more. And in that freedom, in that compassionate freedom, you do feel connected. You do feel a certain type of union. You do feel love. What you've been looking for in a person, you found within yourself, but it's not your self. You know, you connected with the divine. Basically, you fuse your feminine with the masculine, and so now what you're feeling is a divine love, which doesn't hurt. That's, in my book, that's the real love, because any love that hurts, it's not love. And because we are really like very loosey-goosey with the word love, and so we slap that label onto these cycles of run a chaser dynamic and stuff like that, which a lot of people are talking about it since, like, oh, it's a twin flame journey. Now the chaser is doing, the running, or the runner is doing shutty, okay? Um, it's just beliefs, nonsense, bullshit. Nobody has to do any of that shit. Nobody needs to be running, nobody needs to be chasing. If you don't believe in that nonsense, then Jesus fucking Christ, you know what I'm saying? Again, the answer goes to the most basic thing, as I'm always saying. It's facing life without creating any kind of belief system. You face life, and you may even have that type of experience, a very powerful one. And if you've never had the belief system and you just faced everything immediately, you feel like, wow, like that's very beautiful. I was hurting, and because of this connection, now the things that I was feeling, all this pain is gone now because of this connection. So you have very beautiful connection with the same person now, very compassionate one. No drama, no nothing, it's just compassion. And without any trying to grab hold onto anybody anymore, without playing any kind of games, nothing, you just in peace about this. And you did not lose the connection with the person either. But it's not that now, it's not that type of, like, oh, that person is the one I have to be. It's like all these type of beliefs stuff. Whether the person is the one or whether you have to be with that person, really, it's not up to you. When you are in the state of divine love, things are unfolding according to completely different way as you used to. And you don't know how the fuck this shit's gonna go. But you just know that you're in some sort of fucking zone of love. Like, what the there's something else unfolding. I don't know what the fuck this is gonna bring me. But you know that you're in union. And if anything can be called twin flame, which is not necessary, is this divine love that you're feeling. Which is bliss. Also. But the irony is that the amount of pain this relationship was inducing in you, exact intensity of bliss bestows upon you, to be a little bit more poetic and dramatic. But yeah, this is what happens, okay? And so I hope you see how it's not necessary of any of these things. And the definition of the twin flame, you can't make it into belief. Like if you saying, oh my goodness, I hope you can see that. It's the same thing. Like, for example, you're living your life and things happening emotionally, and you face this thing, and then you can call it like, oh, this is the healing process, and then you can go into the healing and you create a belief. Again, you don't need none of that. You're living a life and shit is happening and emotions happening in a place. You have painful emotions happening. You sit with them, you feel them. They're beautiful. They are amazing. All of these things that you're running away from, trust me, like all these negative emotions that you're running away from, when you just face them completely without analyzing with the mind, they're full of grace. They're magical. And so and you realize that you've been running for something that you've been looking for. And then you live your life, and there is no belief of healing. You don't need to go to do any kind of healing with anybody. There's no industries of pain anymore. None of that shit, man. So let's just end this nonsense. Because what you've been looking for in that person, you find within that divine love. Because you're like, that person is not giving you anything back. So what? I know, like, intellectually I speak this and it like doesn't seem like making any sense. But trust me, the sensation, the love that you have is a reward in itself. Um, and this is the union. This is the union. You don't have to go 4 years of suffering and call it a journey. You can do it like that in the same moment. Just you feel that hurt, pain coming along. You face this, say with it, find the beauty behind it, make that pain into bliss, and feel that divine love. Now you already are in love. You already are in love, but there is not because there's a person around you. I mean, you can, if you, Jesus, look at this buffed guy, jungle beast. All right, enough. Got distracted by my own muscle. See, this is vanity. You have to be careful with it. Anyway, what was I saying? Right. Jesus, we don't have to do that, really. And some people may say like, well, that's a karmic or shadow connection. Well, whatever that may be, there was something there that was hurting you. You turned it into love, and now you have more love because of that. So you're just thankful, not resentful. You're thankful, not because you want to be. Not creating another belief. You say like, I'm thankful for all this thing that's happening to me. Creating another fucking mask. No, because just the way it is. You don't have to. It's just the way it is, things, you know what I'm saying? Then you just start putting labels on what it is rather than creating labels trying to get what it is, because it's not working that way. Just because you're going to call yourself twin flame, it doesn't mean that internally now you're going to start being in union with the divine. It doesn't work that way. You be in union with the divine and then see what happens. Whatever that brings you, because you don't know. It may be the same person that was teaching you this level of wisdom. It may be another one. Who knows? But the very fact that it is unknown, you leave it unknown. You focus on the things that can be known, but you leave your love business alone. You get your mind out of love. And by the way, twin flame refers to a very specific type of union, okay? It's basically the end of the game, of this graduation from the school, right? And it's very rare, okay? It's probably something like 0.001, or maybe there's one more zero in there. That's how rare it is, okay? You may go through similar types of experiences where, yeah, you are feeling that type of those types of symptoms. You have a connection with somebody and it's very painful. You have to do a lot of chemical work to find the levels of compassion, because there's no way out of this. Trust me, there's no other way. You cannot block it, you cannot cut it, you cannot do anything. You have to transmute that thing into compassion. You must have a lot of love for this person, but not the love that hurts, real love. This is the only way out. And no attachments either. So what I'm trying to say is that many people can go through this, but it doesn't mean that they are necessarily this specific definition of twin flame. There could be many people who are experiencing similar types of experiences and just very quickly rush in and call it twin flame. It might be just the connection with, what I'm saying. We have to be very careful with these labels. And maybe it's not even worth, sometimes like these ideas that are being propagated that just do more harm than good. If that thing is so rare, for example, the same thing happened with Kundalini. Now everybody's just raising their fucking Kundalini, and then they're not raising Kundalini. They may have some sort of sensual, energetic experiences happening in their body, but it's not Kundalini. Kundalini happens when you are not anymore. So who's doing the fucking raising of Kundalini? You see what I mean? When your shadows are no more, when everything is transmuted, then Kundalini happens automatically, whether you like it or not. And because there's no more ego there's no more shadows anymore. So when somebody still have these shadows and start raising the Kundalini, then don't be surprised you get psychotic. Okay? This is the backwards again, because you see what I mean? Like, oh, I want a Kundalini. You don't need a Kundalini. You just need to live your life and face what is. And stop fucking trying to jump above your navel. And little by little, if you do this, if you live your life and face what is fully, without running away, as time goes by, maybe a few years from now, maybe not even this lifetime, who knows? But that energy will start rising the less you are as a shadow, or less you are as an ego. That energy will start rising. And if you have like some sort of like a little bit of like sensation there, that doesn't mean that your Kundalini has been raised and you're like, oh, I had my Kundalini awakening back in 2004. And you can see that that person is still full of shadows like everybody else, full of insecurities, and yet they say that their Kundalini has awakened. Nothing happened. You had some sort of temporary sensation, but this is not Kundalini. So let's not use that word. Look, like, I know that nobody's gonna, or very few people are gonna listen to me about this thing, because everybody just really wants the fucking cookie. Everybody wants that cherry on the cake, but nobody wants to bake the cake. Everyone just give me the cherry. I just want I want to look at it. Like, look, oh, I'm so fucking awesome right now. But it's almost like that energy comes for the people who are not really looking for it, who just want to be happy in life. So it just created another belief system. And so same thing as with yoga, man. Yoga meant completely different, and now yoga means stretching. Anyway, I digress. Alright, so going back to that, what else I can say about this? It's a type of cult, just like there's Kundalini cult, just like there's Twin Flame cult. It is a breeding grounds of suffering, and it's not the thing, it's a belief. Rid of the belief, you're gonna start facing what it is. That stuff is gonna start burning up. You're gonna start feeling free. You're gonna start feeling connection that you've been looking for. But surprise, surprise, it's not a person. And I can guarantee you that's when the suffering ends. And then you don't care. Because look, think about it for a second. You can ask one question. Are you in bliss with somebody? Or even by yourself? Are you in bliss most of the time? And if you are, you don't care about the labels. You're just too busy making love all the time. And if you're not, then you're not Twin Flame. And it's perfectly fine to be what you are, because that's where you're gonna get the most out of your life anyway, rather than creating the image of who you're not. And it's so stupid also to do this, because it's like you're creating the image of somebody, or the image says they're like, oh, I'm there, I'm much higher than I am. And then It's like somebody who's being 12, 13 years old and say, I can't wait to be 21. And of course, you see how silly this is. Be 12, be 13, be young soul. Experience things, like joy. That joy that you're going to experience this is the fullness of everything that you can experience. You won't worry about fucking Kundalini's twin flames and bullshit like that, because you're too busy just enjoying your life, where you at that moment. I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't give a fuck if I'm, really old soul or really young soul. I just would want to create my dream, whatever that is, whatever that may be. Just fulfilling my soul desires, whether I'm young or old. Because guess what happens when you're already there? What do I'm there, I arrived now. You think you arrived? Back into the game again. Because what do you think else is going to happen? You're going to just sit on this like, with all the other people who are also arrived? We're the ones who arrived. Look at all these suckers enjoying life. We're beyond all that now. We're the shit. And it's like, but you're enjoying life and we're just doing nothing here. You know what? I'm gonna go back. And that's what happens all the time, forever, forever, forever. There's no better place to be where you already are. Stop chasing twin flames, stop chasing kundalinis, and just be where you are already. And don't miss it. Because it's the best trip in the universe. It's this life that you're having now. Peace. See you in the next one.